We've all experienced the frustration. A clear mistake is made, but the person responsible simply refuses to say, "I'm sorry," to understand why. We have to look past the stubbornness and into the complex, the often fragile psychology of the human ego. For most of us, an apology is a way to resolve conflict, but for some, it represents a catastrophic threat to their very sense of self. Research in the journal Personality and Individual Differences suggests that those who refuse to apologize often have a very rigid self-image. If they admit to a mistake, their entire perfect identity doesn't just bend, it breaks. They cannot separate their actions from their worth. This brings us to the crucial distinction between guilt and shame. Guilt says, "I did something bad. This is manageable and allows for repair." Shame says, "I am bad." For the non-apologist, an apology triggers deep-seated shame, making them feel fundamentally flawed. Because shame is so painful, the brain activates powerful defense mechanisms to protect the ego from collapsing under its own weight. One common tactic is deflection, turning the blame back on the other person to avoid facing the reality of their own error. Then there is gaslighting, where the individual distorts the truth so much that they convince themselves they did nothing wrong at all. These behaviors often stem from childhood conditioning, where mistakes were met with harsh, disproportionate punishment instead of guidance. In these environments, admitting a fault wasn't just a learning moment, it was a dangerous admission that invited rejection or pain. People with high narcissistic traits often see an apology as a threat to their status, as if admitting fault would make them lose power in the eyes of others. So, how do you deal with someone who never apologizes? The difficult part is accepting that you can't make someone take responsibility if they aren't ready to face it themselves. Sometimes, the people who refuse to apologize, they aren't protecting the truth. They're protecting a version of themselves that feels too fragile to be questioned. Understanding that doesn't excuse their behavior, but it can free you from carrying a battle that was never yours to win. Not every conflict needs a winner. Sometimes the real victory is keeping your peace, while others keep their defenses. And maybe the most powerful thing you can do, stop waiting for an apology that may never come. If this video made you see human behavior a little differently, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Whispers of Doubt for more psychology stories. Don't forget to like, share, and tell us in the comments. Have you ever dealt with someone who simply could not say, "I'm sorry"? Every behavior tells a story, and every story hides something deeper. Look deeper. Think differently.